Hey guys, it's Mountain Walk, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about, uh, well, mono black control. Why? Because this deck is sweet. It's a sweet deck. Everyone should play it. It's awesome, and get to play sweet cards, like lots of them. You get to kill stuff. I always like killing a lot of things. That's always really exciting to me. I'm just like, pew pew pew. Oh, this one's dead. Oh, that one's dead. Oh, that's sweet. So that's pretty much what you're gonna be doing, killing a lot of things. So it's basically mono black control is a board control deck. Um, you have some other kinds of disruption, but basically your main thing is just killing everything. Kill everything, then after it's dead, keep killing. I guess just kill some more, and that's pretty sweet. I like killing stuff. I like to spam and removal stuff. Pretty cool. Um, I mean, and you get to play, you get to play pretty much a lot of good removal spells. Um, don't have to really worry about too much stuff, and you're really trying to, you don't want to play just like all single target removal or whatever. You sort of want to mix it up between cards that are good in early game and late game, and we really want to be able to play cards that are sort of flexible, that have different modes. Yeah, basically, like different ways of playing them. So you're not having to sideboard out 100 cards, every match or whatever when things don't line up your way. So that's something to take into account too. And also, the biggest thing is that typically this deck in Type 2 back in, Invasion Odyssey block, you played Mutilate as basically your board sweeper. But the Minerals disc is available. You can play it, and it's awesome because it deals with, well, basically everything. So you can ritual it out early and just have it sit there, and it can answer pretty much anything. So that's awesome. That's really good. We want to um, be able to sort of front load a lot of our removal, and that way is pretty great. Ooh, excuse me. And disc is about the best thing we could have asked for. It's probably even better than like Damnation or something if that was available, but is not, and disc is better. So, uh, what's this thing even look like? Well, it looks like this. So, basically, a lot of these things probably aren't too weird if you're familiar with the deck in general. If not, basically just gonna play a bunch of removal, gonna play a couple of card drawing spells, a couple tutors and diabolic tutor, and then, well, lots of removal, and then some dudes to finish it out, which would be Nintugo Shade and or Masticore. Core is obviously really great against a lot of the creature decks, and it can regenerate through the Veneral's Disc, which is really nice. Um, as well as you got the Nintugo Shade, which is great late game. Really good with Cabal Coffers, of course. And I mean, you can basically one or two shot people with it. Got other good late game cards like Drain Life. I guess you could even cast it on like turn 3 or 4 for a couple points to deal with any sort of weenie creatures or whatever. So I mean, that's something. But typically the Drain Lives, you'll be pointing them at their grill late game. 4 discs to be able to deal with crap, basically any amounts of crap. Um, and there's a lot of crap after sideboard, and this deals with all that crap too. Smother and Edict, of course, Female Charm, and Duress for discard. And Skeletal Scrying, again, just for more card draw. And it's, of course, pretty good with Dark Ritual as well. And then, of course, sideboard, nothing too weird. Mostly like Hippie Spec, Hypnog Spectre for combo control matchups, Tormod Scripts for graveyard decks or combo, Jester's Gap for other board control decks, or um, board control decks or just control decks, combo decks, that kind of thing. Infernal Darkness is good against probably just the slower decks for the most part. E-Plague against goblins or other tribal decks. And then Ball Gnomes and Spitting Darkness against Sly and Burn decks and other aggressive creature decks. So, yep. And of course, Thawing Glaciers is like card advantage, gets you more swamps in play, so 1 is fine. Coffers for late game mana production, and then Ritual for early game. Yeah. So, you can pretty much board cards to beat any number of things, but unfortunately, everything is limited. Space is limited, so unless you know exactly what you're going to play with, it's best to be a little bit more broad with your answers. So yeah, you can beat some things, but not everything, and not all the time. So, you know, it is what it is, right? Like you gotta have weaknesses of some sort, and you at least these ones you can pick and choose your weaknesses. And speaking of which, Navendel's Disc takes care of pretty much most of the normal weaknesses. So any like heavy artifact-based decks, or say any deck playing like Cop Black or things like that, Navendel's Disc takes care of it. So against other board control decks, against people boarding in stuff like Light of Day and crap like that against you, Cop Black, Ruin of Protection Black, that sort of stuff. Disc will take care of it. Real nice, real nice. So you don't have to really worry about that too much. And that's definitely a big, I think one of the biggest draws, because Disc is a really powerful card. And that's pretty much the reason why we don't play Phyrexian Arena, because Disc will nuke it and Skeletal Scrying more or less ignores it. You got the Ritual for the early game stuff, Coffers for the late game stuff, so that's pretty nice. But basically, even late game Ritual is good because they can be pumped into a Drain Life, or a Skeletal Scrying, or an Antuco Shade, where it's basically a giant growth, and that's good. And obviously, Coffers is good with all the more expensive cards. And after you're done attritioning people late game, of course, dropping like a Haunting Echoes is pretty sweet. That'll take care of pretty much so much of their deck, and that's really nice. And the creatures basically were chosen because Antuco Shade is really great late game. It's a great blocker or attacker. Doesn't really have the weakness to burn if you have a ton of mana available. And of course, while Mastercore is good against creature decks. I mean, what's there to really say? And of course, Mastercore is also, just like Antuco Shade, really good with a ton of mana. You can just kill everything they play, and then you can always have regen mana up, that kind of thing. And there's always like usually random cards that just aren't very good in certain matchups, so you can discard those to Mastercore. So that's why those were chosen. Basically, probably the worst matchup is Sly, because a lot of times he'll just be able to just throw burn spell after burn spell after burn spell at you, which is really crappy. But if you are able to survive to the late game, pretty much you can just kill other stuff, and you can just drain. If you're able to drain life them for like 6 or more, I mean that's huge, and you'll probably win at that point, because it just gains a bunch of life, deals them a bunch of damage, so it's a lot easier to sort of deal with them at that point. Yeah, so that's kind of it's kind of tough, but it's also not. So because if they have a kind of a suboptimal draw, you can take care of them pretty easily, and like with Shade or Mastercore or Drain Life or something, or Diabolic Tutor into whatever those cards. And fortunately, very nicely, something like Sulfuric Vortex, which you will definitely bring in against you. Disc deals with that, where you normally be SOL if you can't make them discard it. So, and the Hippie specs great against control decks. First turn Rit Hippie is pretty sweet against combo or control, and can really take them apart. And of course, just minor note, in case you don't know, obviously you'll want to duress them before you swing with your hippie spec, of course, because they can discard their only part to hippie spec that could have been duressed. You know, pretty obvious stuff, but worth noting. Ephemera Charm's really good because all the modes are relevant. You can kill a dude or pump one of your own dudes. You can make them discard, of course. Those are the two most useful modes. Or you can give like your Nantuko Shade Swamp Walk, so that could be useful as well. But it's pretty much you never sideboard it out. It's always good for killing the thing or pumping your dudes or making them discard, and at instant speed too, and that's really important. So being able to hit them during the draw step when they have no cards in the hand with instant speed Funeral Charm is sweet. And like I said earlier, scrying is probably better than Arena. Obviously, first turn Arena is better because, well, it'll probably draw you more cards, but it might kill you, maybe, as well as it just dies to disc, and that's not good. And Skeletal Scrying, like I said, is better with all your mana production and ramp and stuff like that. So it kind of depends. I mean, Skeletal Scrying does have a little bit of dis-synergy with Spinning Darkness, but I mean, if that's a big deal, you can always just play more Bottle Gnomes, just 4 Bottle Gnomes instead. And Bottle Gnomes is sweet. I mean, look, anytime I can play Bottle Gnomes in any deck, I'll probably play it. I love Bottle Gnomes. That card is awesome. So, yep, pretty simple, I mean, there's a couple different things you can do. I'm not sure if Mind Sludge is better or worse than Persecute, but they're pretty close, and Persecute's cheaper, so I chose that one instead. Like I said, again, the whole Chainer's Edict, Diabolic Edict, either or. You could play something like Stupor. Stupor's pretty good. Yeah, more Masticores. Probably don't really want to play more mass removal. Maybe something like a Powder Keg. Yeah, but that's the only stuff. I mean, of course, you know, like I said, relevant sideboard cards that you could play, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different stuff there, but yeah. So that's pretty much it. Deck is pretty sweet. I mean, look, it's pre-modern. Every deck is sweet. All right, everyone knows that. Pre-modern, every deck is sweet, but attacking with ginormous Nantuko Shades. I mean, is there anything cooler than that? It's hard to tell. So, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Hope you guys like this deck, and remember, like I said, the most important thing is getting your swamps in chronological order. You really got to do that. I mean, otherwise, like, people think you're a scrub, you'll lose more games, and you won't really be able to intimidate them. And you need really sweet old bordered, black bordered ones. Like, all beta is okay, but like if you have different ones from different sets, and then, like I said, you set them out chronologically, it's extremely intimidating, and you can't lose after that point. It's too powerful. Anyways, so thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a great day.